Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Backyard Motorcycle Builds. Rob Daly. Appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Some of these bikes you may recognize. This is the 93 Suzuki JR50. This is the 1973 Honda XL250. This is the 1995 Kawasaki KE100. And that is our 1979 Honda XL100S. And today we are going to do something a little bit different. Instead of working on these motorcycles, I'm going to go over them and I'm going to show you. I'm going to go over them as an example. And I've got a checklist that we're going to go over some of the things that I use as tools, because knowledge is power, as tools like what to look at whenever you're buying an old motorcycle or a used motorcycle, but this mainly pertains to old motorcycles. Used motorcycles also. We're going to also go over um, a list of red flags. Just red flags that would just basically, one or two of them is bad, two or three of them means just pack up and get the hell out of there. So let's go over this list of some of the things that I look at whenever buying an old motorcycle, and also some red flags. All right. When we get to the list, we'll get over here, get a little better angle view. Here they are. I'll just do a little walk through Honda XL100S. And if you've noticed, I've really polished these wheels up, polished everything on it chrome. I gave it a little polish. And then everything that was painted, I gave it also a little polish. The Kawasaki KE100. The best part of this bike, the KE100, the 95, are the tank graphics. To me, that just screams 1990s. And then we've got our 1973 Honda XL250. We are doing a straight dirt bike on it. Stay tuned. We're going to be later on in the week. We're going to be doing some more to that. I'll show you the other side of it. The other side of the Kawasaki KE100. The other side of the Honda XL250 Motorsport. And then this little beauty right here, you might ask yourself, why do a 50? Well, before I started doing motorcycles on the Rob Daly channel, I think I started it with the 2008 Range Rover Land Rover HSE. But before I started thought I would do content related to motorcycles, because I've always loved motorcycles. This little guy was kind of my test to myself to see, if I would actually be putting anything out here on the old interwebs that was worthy. And I don't know, I'll let other people determine whether or not I passed that test, but I like the little bike. I think that it turned out great. I like all of them. So here they are. Let's go over. Now we're done talking about me. Let's talk about you guys. What can you do to help ensure that you don't get burned in a motorcycle deal? A lot of times I hear people talking about being scammed and what have you. And let's see if I can get a decent camera angle. And I think that we can avoid a lot of that just by knowing what the heck we're doing whenever it comes to buying one of these things. So let me find a better camera angle here. Let me find a place to set this tripod rather, and I'm going to go over this list. Two different lists. One of them is kind of what you take with you and what to look for whenever you're buying a motorcycle, and the other one is going to be just red flags. So rock and roll. Let me find a place to put you guys. All right, the first thing that's on my list is the NICB, which is the National Insurance Crime Bureau. And this is their website right here, NICB. And what that's going to do is you can put your VIN number into there. And this is a free VIN lookup service provided to the public to assist in determining if a vehicle may have a record of an insurance theft claim and has not been recovered or has ever been reported as a salvage vehicle by participating NICB member insurance company. To perform a lookup, a vehicle identification number is required, and a maximum of 5 searches can be conducted within a 24-hour period. That's one nice little tool that you can use. And then let's get, so there you have it. That's one tool that you can use, the National Insurance Crime Bureau. A lot of times you look into that, it's clear, and the bike is clear. Now it says only participating insurance companies. That's why I said that is a tool. The VIN number, is the VIN number unobstructed? Do you have paperwork? Does that VIN number match your paperwork? Most motorcycles, I'll show you on the little guy here, the VIN's going to be on the neck of the frame. And this one, it's on the other side. And it depends on what year it is. Here's the VIN number right here. See? If it's been obstructed, if it's been sanded off, if it's been filled with Bondo, then that's a big red flag. You want to take with you some minor tools. You want to have a flashlight. This is the one that I use. It's a little rechargeable that's right in your pocket, super bright, and it'll give you perspective on if you're in someone's garage. My bad. If you're in someone's garage, maybe it's getting to be nighttime, and even in the middle of the day, you can shine it in the little nooks and crannies on the motorcycles, and it's going to show you anything that's you need to see in the bright light. Oil leaks, coolant leaks. You want to look for anything like that. One deal breaker here that you're going to run into is going to be rust. You got to look very closely. I remember I once bought a little 900, a little 883 actually, and whenever I started taking it apart to redo it, the frame, it was like, I can show you on this guy here, the frame right underneath here, underneath the tank, where it goes right there, where the side covers went on that Harley, and this whole piece underneath the seat, almost this whole triangle area, and there was just all rotted out. I could have seen it if I would have taken one of the side covers off the bike. Nuts and bolts. If it has, all I can describe to you is if you feel like, okay, I'll show you right here. See how on this guy, this is old and it's been heavily ridden, but look, all of these screws, you can tell that they match the patina on this bike, this whole side cover, that whenever this gentleman took this bike apart and put it back together, all these screws went into the same place. You see a hex nut, a hex nut, a hex nut, a hex nut, and then you see something with an 8 or 10 millimeter head on it right there, then that's going to be an issue. You know, I mean, it could be a red flag. All right. Bikes put together with baling wire, mixed matched parts. A lot of that can be eliminated, but you have to have, hold on, you have to have a list. Normally I have a list, just a few things like the odometer reading, things to remind yourself of. Look for rust. Take a little tool bag. You want to take an air pump. You want to take an air compressor. Let's see. A flashlight, a few little tools, a battery booster. You want to check inside the tank for rust. And when I say original parts, people decide to mow. When I say original parts, some bikes, it's not going to make a big difference if you're buying a motorcycle and something happened to the side cover and it was replaced with an original side cover. When I say original parts, maybe if you were buying this 1973, and I have changed a lot of the original parts off of it because they were just worn out as far as plastics and stuff like that goes. But if this was going to be something that you're wanting to restore or get back to original, then that would have been a big difference in how you go at whether you would even want to mess with this bike or not, because I was putting it back in the dirt, back into Baja, back into, off-road racing. Then it's perfect. It's going to get done just like its brother was, that was a 74 XL 350 that was done all off-road. And so nuts and bolts, matching parts. Some of these things you may not really care about, but whenever you look closely with a flashlight and you see a coolant leak or an oil leak, if there's stains on the floor where you're buying one of these motorcycles, then it could be a big red flag. And it could be something that's fixable if you think that you can fix it. Like this guy right here came with an extra carburetor and 3 or 4 different carburetor slides, and it was partially, the carburetor was taken apart and the seat and the tank were both kind of on it, and I took them off to transport. But man, if you look, I think these wheels turned out really good. I think the wheels on this guy turned out really good. I just started really cleaning on the engine to try to make it up to par. Brakes, clutch, gonna feel the clutch, see what it feels like, make sure that the bike goes into gear. If the bike starts and runs and rides, that's one thing. Then you're checking for rattles. You're checking for the neck bearing. You see if there's any slack in that. You're gonna wiggle the front tire left and right. See if there's any kind of play in that wheel bearing. You want to pick up and down on the seat. Move. See if you see the swing arm moving any weird ways. Wiggle that back tire back and forth and see if there's any play in that rear wheel bearing. The drive system, the chain. The chain and the sprockets. You're going to look for missing teeth on either one of the sprockets. See if the chain's stretched. Let's look at this guy. Let's see. Is there still plenty of room to adjust your chain out? Or is this thing stretched out and it's still loose? Hey, these guys are all the way back here and the chain's still loose. Then you know you need a chain and sprockets. You need to renegotiate your deal a little bit. You want to look inside the gas tank. Open that sucker up. Take a glance inside. That's why you got a flashlight. Any of these spaces up underneath here, you're going to look for dirt dauber nest or big rust holes. Okay, 100, we got it back together, running, idling all right. A new fuel filter. The new fuel valve hasn't come in yet, but I ended up cleaning the old one out. It works all right. So I have to turn it with a pair of pliers because the thing-a-lang's broken. This is a cool little survivor bike with 1,000 miles on it. The Honda here has 2,746 miles on it. All right, let's back to the list. Some of this just comes naturally. I don't even have to look at the list. Sometimes you can just tell that it's not the deal for you and you need to get the hell out of there. And we'll get into that in a minute. Shocks, forks, original parts. Another red flag is if these guys put bad pictures. That's a dead giveaway. Or they won't send you fresh pictures. That's a dead giveaway. If they're hard to meet, if they don't post a specific number, address, if things just don't feel right, that's a bad sign. Oil, gas, coolant leaks. You want to smell the gas, see if it smells like varnish or if it actually smells like gas. You want to check the oil, see if there are any oil leaks, coolant leaks. Look at the coolant, make sure that the bike, if it is water cooled, make sure that it does have coolant in it. And what is it? Handlebars, controls, body, engine, scratches, scrapes, and obvious new parts. Okay, now we're done with the list of what to look for. Hopefully, this gives you a little bit of insight as to what you need to arm yourself with whenever you're going to look at a bike. Engine, swing arm, side panels, handlebars, controls, body and engine scratches, scrapes, and new parts. That's what I'm talking about here. Is if you see that it has a new fork tube on it, but this bolt is just ground all the way off right there, that means that this tube's been replaced, but they used the old axle. Possible wreck. Foot peg scraped. If this side cover was all gouged out and this was all gouged out, but you see that that the pipe still has a scratch, but they replaced this little cover right here, that would tell me that it had some sort of a damage. Down low on the bike, the frame rails, they don't lie as far as that goes. On your dirt bikes, this part right here where your foot goes, if it's totally worn out, that tells you about how much wear there is on the bike. Like I was saying, swing arm, if new side panels, or if there's an old one on there and it's gouged, or the bodywork that's supposed to go around it is gouged out, but it's on the floor, it comes with the bike, these are things that you need to look for. If someone has replaced this engine case cover right here, or if it has scratches on it, sometimes you have to get down low and look at the bottom of it. Swing arm the same way. Tires, one last little bit of it. Let's see if I can find it on one of these real quick and I'll show you. Sometimes you have to look close, but all tires have got a date code on them. This tire happens to be from February the 3rd of 2021 or somewhere right around in there, but it's it's a 4-letter code, and it's going to give you the date of the tires on the bike or on your car for that matter. All tires have this. So check that out. Now let's go over a list. My bad. Let's go over a list of red flags now. All right, red flags. Let's see. The story changes, or the vehicle is hard to get to, or the people are hard to get a hold of. That's red flag. Appointment, time, or place changes, or they don't show up. That's another red flag. Okay. Oh, another red flag to me is sloppy rattle can paint that covers basically parts of the bike that shouldn't be painted. That means they just don't give a crap about the bike. And it's possibly that it's hot or borrowed. The VIN number is obstructed or gone. The VIN number doesn't match the title. The ignition is modified. If it has a screwdriver key or a different key, a screwdriver key is a red flag. A different key, like the ignition key, doesn't match the tank key, then you want to know why. It's too good of a deal to be real, and it probably is. And then the number one thing, guys, and this I cannot pound home enough how much I believe in your own intuition, your own instinct. If you just feel, if you just have a bad feeling about it, then don't do it. If you feel like if something starts creeping you out, you feel like there's just a bad juju going on, then don't do it. I try to say to not buy the bike that day, but in the market that we're in, a lot of times you've got to go with the cash and be ready to pull the trigger, or someone else is going to end up with the deal. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully some of these things might help you in and getting your next old school motorcycle, at least getting it purchased, and then stay tuned. We're going to work some more on on this dude right here, this 1973 Honda XL250. We've got some of the cars that I really need to do some work on. The 1993 Lexus SC300. And I would say that I haven't had time, but that's something that I just need to get motivated to do and do it. But I want to thank every single one of you for tuning in, and we'll be back at you guys live, uncut, and unrated very soon. You'll have a badass evening, even better tomorrow. Rob Daly. Peace.